Just my backpack and I for an entire year alone, in a country that I was forbidden to go to by everyone. Entered a whole different world to what I'm used to. I was backpacking through military occupied regions, ex-Taliban areas, disputed territories and so much more. I lived in the Trans-Himalayas with mountain tribes, and then I flitted from tribe to tribe through other mountain ranges. I gained experiences that I never in my wildest dreams imagined that this simple British countryside girl would ever encounter in her life.
Prince William and Kate Middleton sat right there and watched a Galasha performance over there.
Now, there's a lot of wealth in Pakistan. There are people that live extravagantly. However, that wasn't the world that I had gone out to explore. I wanted to be with people who lived and breathed the earth that they lived on. And that led me to some of the most remote and challenging areas.
Into the kitchen we go.
My living conditions were pretty extreme. Well, for me anyway. I was waking up early hours of the morning to collect water from the river with the women and then carried it on my head. Then I'd go off with the men to hunt and fish. The manual labor was insane. Everything has to be done by hand. Washing clothes, whether that be in the river or at home. Heating up the iron.
So they heat up coal, put it inside, close the lid, and then that's how they iron their clothes.
Something as simple as bathing was such a difficult task.
It's filled with water, okay, and this is what I'm going to be bathing with. And we've lit fire.
On numerous occasions, we would run out of electricity or gas to heat up the water, or there was no wood. Which is why I only bathed something like once every 2 weeks. Or the water wasn't clean enough as it would flow from the glacier and it would be filled with grit. So yes, I was hardly bathing. I was working on the farm every single day, and everything from cutting the grass to ploughing is all done by hand. I even lived with a tribe where the young boys went out to catch fish with their bare hands.
This gentleman has got one fish inside his trousers, which is known as a sharaj. He stuffed it in there and now he's gone under the water in search for another fish. This is what you call fishing extreme. And the water is freezing cold, by the way.
I'd never seen anything like it.
He's brought it across. Hello.
And then I went to live with tribes at sea. It was my first time living without basic facilities such as running water, electricity, heated homes. During winter in the mountains, we would have electricity for 1 hour a day. Can you imagine having to charge everything, cook, clean, bathe the kids, heat the water, all just in 1 hour? Today, we've had electricity for 15 minutes. Yesterday, it was around 10 minutes. I lived in homes made out of stone and lived in homes made out of mud. And witnessed mountains and glaciers that I had never seen before. Those of you who follow my channel, you'll already know me as a mountains girl, and you'll probably be thinking, Asra, you're always in the mountains. But let me tell you, nothing like these. These were some of the most majestic magnitude of beauty that I've ever laid my eyes on. They were something else. I experienced extreme cold to a point that I was wearing a coat 24/7, even indoors, because the homes aren't heated. I would go to bed wearing a woolly hat and gloves. We would layer blankets upon blankets just to stay warm at night. It is minus 15 degrees here in the outer Himalayas, but trust me, this is warm because it drops down to minus 20 in the winter. Living in extreme cold is quite the experience. So even things like battery life, everything just dies rapidly here, and we have anywhere from between 15 minutes to 45 minutes a day of electricity to charge everything. My laptop doesn't even turn on in the mountains. This happens to me every single time. And then as soon as I go from the mountains down to sea level, guess what? It starts turning on again. And summer was the polar opposite. I experienced such intense heat as though it was a blanket, this suffocating blanket of heat. I would sleep outside in the night and just sweat through the night. And as you can imagine, me and my sweet blood, I was just being attacked by mosquitoes all night. Now, all I've ever known to life is England. So coming from a sheltered and privileged background meant that living in such extreme conditions was incredibly tough for me. I was having breakdowns, multiple breakdowns. I would question myself that why on earth did I leave my perfectly perfect life in England to come to this? To live in such harsh environments with strangers. I don't even know anyone here. They don't speak my language. What the hell is wrong with me? And it was incredibly lonely at many points. Everyone wondered what was keeping me there for so long and why I didn't just return home. The answer is simple. One word. People.
Look, there's my friend!
It's time to eat. The best part of Pakistan are the people.
Wow, you speak amazing English.
Very good, very funny.
How old are you?
72 running.
Oh, it's my favourite person.
The love, hospitality, how much I was careful throughout my trip. I I was hosted by over 20 different families throughout the year, and this allowed me to live like a true local and get a real taster of what life was like on a day-to-day basis. Some areas were so remote that they had never seen a foreigner in their life. Although I am ethnically South Asian, they saw me as a complete and utter alien. There'd be groups of people coming throughout the day just to look at me. The food was so interesting because every region and every tribe have their own dishes. And I really enjoyed getting stuck in with the cooking. The schools are just wait till you see the videos about the schools that I taught in. I visited and taught at multiple schools for tribes that live in the mountains and tribes that live at sea.
Hi! Very good. I'm really enjoying. Assalamu alaikum.
Can you understand my English? I'm going to be taking your English class today. Do you enjoy studying English?
Yes, I do enjoy English.
You do enjoy English? Okay, high five. I enjoy English too. Do you find English difficult or easy?
This is easy enough.
English is easy and hard. Okay, G.
Most welcome to our school. Thank you to our class.
Thank you very, very much. How many countries there are in this world?
195.
195. Shall I round of applause? Can anybody guess where I've come from? Yes. America? Canada? No. UK, yeah. So I've come from England to Pakistan for the first time and I'm really enjoying it here so far. My grandfather is from Pakistan. I even attended a tribal wedding where there were traditions that I had never heard of. The bride and groom arrived on a tractor. The most fascinating element for me were the different cultural clothing. Every tribe I stayed with, they took great pride in dressing me in their traditional garments. And these were some of the most vibrant and captivating pieces of clothing I've ever worn. Forget about the different religions. Now, Pakistan is a predominantly Muslim country. However, there is still a large Hindu, Sikh and Christian community as well as other religions. And one of my most cherished memories is of my time spent with a Hindu community. The women of this community were some of the most beautiful that I'd ever seen, with bangles covering their entire arms. It was so incredible to see. I spent 2 years studying the national language of Pakistan, Urdu, starting off with this book, Learn Urdu in 30 Days. This really helped. And I got a teacher. Shout out to my ustad. सबसे अच्छा तरीका कोई भी ज़बान सीखने के लिए दो तरीके. There's 2 techniques. तरीका मतलब technique. Reading books. If you read and read and read, and मैंने उर्दू ऐसे ही सीखी है, किताबें पढ़ के. Lockdown turned out to be a blessing in some ways for me because it gave me the opportunity to just study hardcore. I really wanted to be able to connect with the locals and understand their way of life. And the best way to do that is through language. I would like to thank you very much for your time. I have full faith that all of you will go very far in life. I'm still pretty basic at speaking, but it's a tough language, so go easy on me. However, once I arrived into the country, I was mortified to find that no one actually spoke Urdu. The only native Urdu speakers are in the south in a city called Karachi. Everywhere else, every region, every tribe have their own language, and Urdu would be their second, third, sometimes even fourth language, and many didn't speak the language at all. So despite having studied hardcore for 2 years and my mother teaching me the basics when I was a child, there were many areas where there was still a language barrier, and I really struggled at times. Now, I'm ethnically half Indian and half Pakistani. Yes, I know, 2 countries that have a lot of rivalry. My story starts with Grandad. He migrated over to the UK from Pakistan in the 60s when the British were inviting foreigners over to work. And Grandad ended up moving his entire immediate family over to the UK. So when I was born, I had with me my father, grandfather and great-grandfather here in England.
मैं पाकिस्तान पहली दफा आई हूँ. मेरे दादा इस मुल्क के थे, तो मेरी पूरी खानदान इंग्लैंड में. तो यहाँ पे मेरा कोई रिश्तेदार नहीं, कोई दोस्त नहीं, तो मेरे घर में कभी कोई वजह नहीं थी यहाँ पाकिस्तान आने के लिए.
Dad then went on to marry my Indian mother, who only moved to England after they were married. So all of Mum's family are in India. Growing up was very interesting, with on one hand having an incredibly English father, while on the other hand a seriously Indian mother. There were very strong influences from both Eastern and Western cultures on our upbringing. So Dad would teach us things such as how to use a knife and fork properly, while Mum was very keen on us having some sort of a connection to our Indian heritage. Hence, during my childhood, she took my sister and I to visit India and meet her family. I'm from the countryside in England, and I was one of 3 ethnic minority kids in my school. Everybody was white. And it wasn't until I went to university in 2011 and befriended international Pakistani students that I started to become intrigued by Pakistan.
मैं लंदन की यूनिवर्सिटी में गई थी, तो वहाँ पे पाकिस्तान के बहुत दोस्त बने थे.
And my newly found Pakistani friends would tease me with how awful it is that I visited my mother's country but never my father's. And I would always respond with, well, it's not really Dad's country, is it? It's more Grandad's. So then I started to question my Grandad more. I started to ask him about his childhood and upbringing, his home, his country. And after hearing his stories, that is when I decided that one day I will visit my Grandad and great-grandfather's country.
तो तब से मुझे पाकिस्तान का बहुत शौक पड़ गया था दिल में. मैं सोचती थी, मेरा ख्वाब था कि एक दिन मेरे जो दादा के मुल्क है, मैं एक दिन जाके देखूंगी कि मेरे दादा के मुल्क कैसा है, मेरे जो अपने बंदे जो पाकिस्तानी लोग हैं वो कैसे हैं. तो इसलिए मेरी उर्दू टूटी फूटी, आप मेरी टूटी फूटी उर्दू को नजरअंदाज करें. मेरी मादरी ज़बान अंग्रेजी, मैं बचपन से अंग्रेजी बोलते आई हूँ, ठीक है.
Then 2019 came around, which was the year that I decided to tick off my most biggest and most scariest goal, which was to travel the world. The plan was to have no plan. I just thought that I'll explore for around a couple of years, and at some point Pakistan will cross my path. So I packed my backpack and left England with a one-way ticket. I hopped city to city, island to island, country to country, and then the global pandemic hit in 2020. Luckily, I was back in England before the borders shut, so my lockdown was here, but I decided that as soon as the borders open, I will fly directly to Pakistan. And that is when all hell broke loose. Everybody that I knew was against the idea of me going alone. Mind you, I had just come back from a world tour of backpacking alone, but that was perfectly fine. But Pakistan alone, no. People were so negative, unbelievably negative, but I still flew out. Between you and I really had to muster every ounce of courage I had within me to go. So I flew out with a 3-month tourist visa. And it's funny looking back because at the time I thought to myself, 3 months is a long time. I think I'll just bounce around for a couple of months before I head off to the next country. Little did Asra know just what she was in for. 3 months turned into 6, which then turned into 9, which then eventually turned into an entire year. It was the longest that I had ever travelled and the longest that I've been away from home. My journey ended up being from the mountains to the sea. I had 2 main goals. Number 1, to touch base with the highest and lowest points. And number 2, to explore all 5 provinces. I managed to tick off both goals with great difficulty because as a foreigner, you're not allowed to enter every area willy-nilly and you have to have special military permission, which I had to fight for, but that's another story for another day. This video is the first to a brand new series on my YouTube channel, all about my 1 year of backpacking through Pakistan. You're about to jump on one heck of a journey with me, and I get the opportunity to relive my entire experience. There aren't words to summarize my entire trip, and as each video unfolds, you'll understand why. I turned up completely and utterly alone, not knowing anyone or anything about the country, but left with tons of relationships that I will cherish forever and a wealth of incredible memories and experiences. I became so close to certain families that hosted me, especially the family that I lived with in the Trans-Himalayas. I fondly call them my mountain mother and father. The growth of our relationship is on camera. You'll see when I first moved in, I addressed them as auntie and uncle. And then as our relationship progresses, I then start calling them mum and dad. And that transition is very beautiful to watch. Throughout the year, I would observe tourists and foreign Pakistanis visit Pakistan, but never really learn anything, understand the culture or connect with the locals. And I understand that time, finances, lack of support, these are all factors in holding people back, which is why I really hope that this series of mine allows you to feel connected with the country in ways that you've never felt before. My uncle's wife sent me a lovely voice note during my travels, which I saved because I found it so very special. She spoke about how wonderful it is that I am the first from my family to explore my grandfather's country. That not even Grandad himself had the opportunity to do what I'm doing, and most won't. So praise be to God for one of the most incredible experiences of my life. And I pray that this series is an experience for you as well. So maybe one day when I'm on TV, us countryside folk, we may be simple, but hey, we're allowed to dream big. So maybe when I'm on TV, you'll look at your screen and say, hey, I supported her right from the beginning.
Happy birthday to you. Amen.
Hooray! You even remembered his name. You said the Jumma. Wow.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Same to you.
Happy birthday to Grandad.
Happy birthday to
Grandad just said same to you. Did you hear it? Ah, thank you, Dada Jam.
Happy birthday to us.
Today, I'm 19 years old. I'm very happy.
Grandad passed away at the fabulous age of 91 in 2020. And my Pakistan journey started in 2021. It's a great shame that Grandad just missed out on witnessing his granddaughter explore his motherland.
Whoa! Should we go to the beach today?
It's a great pity that he'll never hear any of the stories that you're about to hear.
बहुत ज़्यादा मेहनत है, कोई आसान काम नहीं है ये.
सही बात है, फिल्म बनाना कोई आसान काम नहीं है ना?
क्यों कि उसका ऑर्गेनाइज करना, उसका सेट करना, ये करना, वो करना, तो ये कोई आसान नहीं बात है. ये आसान बात नहीं है. ये बड़ी मेहनत की और बड़े दूरअंदेशी की चीज़ है
जी.
जो ये करते आदमी. और ये मेरा ख्याल है इसके डैड ने बड़ा कमाल किया कि हमें कहाँ से लेकर के कहाँ लाया है, समुंदर के बीच में. और यहाँ पर हम बातें भी कर रहे हैं और तरह तरह के परिंदे जो हैं वो भी आसमान में वो भी घूम रहे हैं. तुम्हारे फ़ोटो जो है बड़े प्यारे फ़ोटो आए हैं.
ज़बरदस्त है ना?
ज़बरदस्त फ़ोटो है. बड़ी मेहनत और बड़ी कोशिश से इसने यहाँ तक इस चीज़ को पहुँचाया है
जी.
लेकिन इसकी बड़ी मेहनत है. हम शाबाश कहेंगे ज़रूर.
शुक्रिया।
इसको ये पूरा काम करने की मैं दाद देता हूँ। जिंदाबाद।
High five.
हाई फाइव।
Yeah. High five. Now Dada John is learning how to film. अब ये कैसा शॉट है?
ये मैं कहता हूँ कि ये तो क़यामत कर रहे हैं। क़यामतों से भी आखिर लफ्ज़ है ये कि मरना हो गया।
And Muhammad said, just watch. Okay, so we're going to watch what these two amazing young men do.
Thank you.
Go on. Oh wow! Shukran.
It would have been so wonderful had he just known that somebody from his family travelled his homeland from the mountains to the sea and loved it. But I guess it was just never meant to be, and the stories are meant just for you. You're about to witness a turmoil of events. My ups, downs, misery, illnesses, homesickness, being showered with love. I turned up alone and frightened, but after a year ended up sobbing buckets when it was time to leave and left a piece of my heart behind. So, ladies and gents, shukriya for being here. Welcome aboard this journey with me. It's going to be a good one.
Oh my gosh, I'm actually nervous to do it.